Hi, it's Dennis Daly. Over the years on my weekend show, I interviewed a lot of people connected with food. Wolfgang Puck, Justin Wilson, Julia Child, John Harrison, the man who invented all the ice cream flavors for Edy's and Dryers. We went to a lot of food tasting festivals, and a lot of it was up in California wine country. And we even tasted the flavors of Cinco de Mayo in downtown LA. Back in '99, a very personable young man visited my apartment complex, and out in the back, on the huge gas grill, he grilled. His name is Bobby Flay. He was just beginning to be famous back then. I asked him what the big deal was about grilling outside.
I think that people love the idea of going out outside to cook. It becomes a centerpiece of a party, and also I think it reminds people of their childhood for some reason. You know, as kids running around, there's always somebody grilling outdoors. Your mom, dad, uncle, somebody or another. You know, it's always been hot dogs and hamburgers, but it's not just hot dogs and hamburgers anymore.
I remember my dad did not like to, we call it barbecue. I don't know how that phrase got started as a euphemism for grilling, but he didn't like the taste of charcoal. But whenever we would visit my aunts and uncles in Washington, D.C., and this was 30-some years ago, they always cooked out. And that was the one thing I look forward to. My big memories of those trips were the cookouts in their backyards.
No, I know. And actually, you know, I have memories of, like, grilling lobsters and corn and stuff, you know, when I was, like, 4 years old. That's why people say to me, you know, I have this new book out called Boy Meets Grill, and they say, you know, how long did it take you to write? And I say 30 years, which is really true. I mean, it started a long time ago. And I think that even in hamburgers, like, I even like my hamburgers a little overcooked outdoors, because there's just something that reminds me of, like, the flavor of an overcooked hamburger. Just had something about it that was magic.
Yeah, you look back at some of those really awful-looking hot dogs that were singed on one side and not on the other. Unless you really take the time, it's an irregular kind of cooking, but by its very nature, you're in kind of a less controlled situation than if you're inside.
But I think that grilling is really practical. I think people are really intimidated by the grill. I don't know whether it's usually the size of the grill, or if it's about the heat, or they're worried about things are going to stick. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. But grilling is really practical, and the questions that I get asked very often by people who like to cook outdoors or who would like to cook outdoors are things that are, you know, very simple to answer. Like, for instance, you know, people say to me, I love to cook vegetables on the grill, but they always seem to fall through the grates. Cut them bigger. I mean, that's really, I mean, it's almost obnoxious, the answer, but it's true. You know, I cook my vegetables whole, and then I grill them whole, and then I cut them. For some reason, people have been used to cutting all their vegetables up before they grill them. Right?
They're going to boil them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. And then they're going to put them on the grill. It becomes like a balancing act on the grill. The other thing people say to me is, I love cooking steaks on the grill, but they always get overcooked. Take them off sooner. I mean, it's really, it's you know, if you think of a grill as a flame, you know, as a sort of a burner with some grates on top, I think it breaks it down much simpler. And that's really what it is. I even bring pots out, and, you know, I steam open mussels and clams and stuff right on top of the grill, because really that's what it is. It's just a burner that just happens to be outdoors.
You know, one other memory that comes back is in my parents' house back in Indiana, we had a gas log in the fireplace. Looked like a real burning log, but it was a gas log. And many, many years ago, 35 or more, our local power plant had a problem. We didn't have electricity for 4 days. So what my dad did was he worked in plumbing and heating, he made a metal frame to hang a pot over the gas fireplace logs.
Right.
And it was the height of simplicity, but it worked, and that's how my mom cooked for about 4 days.
Yeah, I see this, to me, grilling, people make grilling out to be much more complicated than it is, and it's really the simplest form of getting something cooked. I mean, you know, think about it. It's some charcoal, or sometimes it's some briquettes, and it's a grate, and you got some heat, and you just throw something on the grill and let it happen. And what happens is, especially guys either can grill or they think they can grill. I don't know what it is, but that's the way it is. And what they do is they come out and they put something on the grill. We're going to throw some steaks on here in a second. And the first thing they want to do is they want to touch it. They want to make sure it's not going to stick. They want to turn it over 40 times because they think they're really grilling. But in fact, what you should really do is, should I throw one on? Should I throw one in?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to throw a steak on. I mean, this is a ribeye steak. I just, salt and pepper, or you can put like some fresh garlic and herbs and stuff if you want. And I throw it right in the grill. And you want to hear that sizzle. That's really important. Now, if you notice, I'm not going near that steak right now. I'm going to let it cook, because I'm only going to turn the steak once, because I want it to get a really nice crust on one side, and then I'm going to turn it over. As soon as you start touching something on the grill when you put it on, that's when it starts to stick.
Well, the first radio station I worked for was on the 4th floor of an old building that was owned by the Knights of Columbus. And, of course, they had a restaurant downstairs, so it was extremely convenient. An old guy named Jimmy, old crotchety fellow, used to cook down there. And that's one of the things he told me. He said, you turn a hamburger once.
Absolutely. I turn chicken once. I turn steaks, fish, whatever it is, I turn them once. Now, this grill is a little high. If it starts getting if the steak catches on fire, I'll move it to a colder spot.
Should we turn the flame down a little?
Well, I don't think so. Especially for steak, I want it to get nice and crusty. So the only way to do that and not overcook it is to make it sort of sear it, so to speak. So you need very high heat, so it gets nice and crusty on one side. Then you flip it over on the other side and let it cook for a few more minutes, and then your steak is really cooked.
By the way, I did not tell the listeners this, but I've told you this before going on the air. I misunderstood what your last name was. The woman who called up to arrange the interview had a very strong British accent, and I thought she was calling you Bobby Flay.
Right, it's Bobby Flay.
It's Bobby Flay, and I thought, well, that's a neat stage name. Here's a guy who's doing grilling, and he's calling himself Mr. Filet.
I know. Well, it's better than Mr. Food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, there is somebody out there named Mr. Food. But, no, Flay is my name, and I just happen to like to cook. And when I was a kid, when I was in grammar school, my nickname was Fish, because they used to call me Filet Fish. But
I see.
We're
Irish?
I'm an Irish guy from New
Dennis
York.
Michael Daly here. So.
Is that you? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have something in common right off the bat, and we like to grill.
Well, now, I got a couple of questions to ask. Can we go through the cuts of meat? Because I have made the mistake, and maybe it's because I'm a cheapskate, of buying the wrong cut of meat that when you put it on a grill turns to shoe leather. If you want it to be tender in this quick cooking mode, what are we looking for?
Well, I like to use ribeye, which is what we're cooking now. Filet mignon, tenderloin is obviously fantastic on the grill. Sirloins and strip loins, things along those lines. You could cook flank steak and skirt steak, but you want to marinate that first. Maybe some kind of soy sauce, ginger, garlic kind of thing. Maybe an Asian-style marinade of some kind. Let's take a look at what the steak looks like. I just want to...
I would put the mic down there, but I don't want to get it on fire.
See, now, you see how that looks? You got good grill marks there. Now I'm going to turn it this way, so I'm going to get those nice restaurant grill marks on there, which is key.
Well, now the reason this flame is so high is, and I didn't have too much advance time before you got here, I wanted to try to get the grill metal itself as hot as I could. Or is that important?
It was very important. What's happening is that the briquettes or the charcoal, the heat permeates up to the front, permeates up to the grill, to the grates, and then the grates become very hot, and that's what it keeps it. The grates keep the heat very even.
As we look at this, there is that wonderful magic that is how food looks. I mean, I frequent Chinese restaurants a lot, and no matter how it tastes, if it looks good, that enhances the whole eating experience. There's something you expect as far as the grill marks you talk about and that kind of thing in an outdoor cooked piece of beef.
Well, it's really the texture of things. Like, let's take a look at the steak. Now I'm going to turn this over. Okay, now you see what we're getting there? We're getting this great crust on the outside, and you're getting a nice crusty texture. So it's going to create a contrast of textures, in fact. Crusty on the outside, nice and moist and silky and delicious on the inside, so that it becomes interesting for you to also eat as opposed to just taste. So that when you're chewing it, you're getting a contrast of textures, and that's exactly what you need.
You talk about this almost with the same nuance as a wine taster.
Well, food and wine are obviously very related. There's all kinds of flavors, there's all kinds of textures, there's all kinds of qualities, both, from low quality to high quality. So whether you're talking about a steak, a piece of fish, or a vegetable, there's a lot to say.
Let's talk about things other than beef for a minute while these beautiful steaks are getting more done. Over the 17 or so years that you've been officially connected with restaurants, have the types of foods people have been grilling changed that much? Is it still predominantly beef?
I think that, there's been this push to move away from red meat, but I don't really particularly see it. You can't get into a steakhouse in New York. They're just packed, and there's so many of them. I think that we've been, especially grilling, we've been grilling a lot of beef outside, hamburgers to start, then steaks. But now people are doing things like they're grilling lamb chops. There's a recipe in my book for like lamb chops with mustard and molasses. 2 ingredients, it just kicks up the whole barbecue. I shouldn't say the barbecue, but the grill. I'm going to turn the steak over while we go. And then, of course, fish, and I'll give you some tips on fish. People love to eat fish, and they love to grill fish, but again, sometimes they're intimidated by it. What I tell people is to start with some fish that are easier to grill, like swordfish and tuna. They're dense, they're steak-like, and they won't stick as easy.
Now this grill is kind of an...
How do you like your steaks cooked?
Medium well.
Medium well?
Yeah, just leaving pink, not runny.
All right. So I like my medium rare, but we'll cook these a little bit more for you because you have the microphone.
Oh, okay. This is kind of an industrial strength grill. The grid iron of it is very large, chunky metal with some pretty hefty spaces between. This would not be an ideal grill for a hamburger, but what about putting aluminum foil on it?
No, I think it would work for hamburger.
You think so?
I really do. You know what's great about these? This is like cast iron, and so what's happening is it's going to really hold the heat like a cast iron pan. I see people ask me, can you grill indoors if you don't have a grill? Well, you can use a cast iron grill pan, and they really hold the heat very well. You're not going to get the same flavor, though.
Also, there's some magic, even though this is not charcoal, to how much heat can be generated by briquettes. I remember going to a restaurant on the south side of Little Rock about 10, 15 years ago.
Little Rock?
Arkansas. You fixed your own steaks.
Exactly.
And there was this massive pit of charcoal briquettes. It must have been 10 feet square, and it amazed me how much heat was coming off there.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have high heat, you really can't grill. And these grills now are designed to make sure that you can get high heat, especially like the gas grills. People say to me, charcoal versus gas, what do you think? I like both of them. I like both of them for different reasons. There's pros and cons for both. Obviously, if you like the charcoal flavor, you're only going to get it from a charcoal grill, but it's harder to light. A gas grill, look, why not use the technology that's out there now?
If the pioneers that had propane, they would have used it.
They would be using it right this second.
Yeah.
You're right. So I think that, a gas grill is great to use. You press a few buttons, you turn a few knobs, you have great, high, even heat. And then they have things like, you're talking about grates, porcelain-coated grates, which is like grilling on a Teflon pan, so it doesn't stick as much. Why not use it? But remember, you can go out and buy a grill for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 now, but it's not going to grill the food for you, and it's not going to clean up for you either.
Well, now, are these done already?
These are done. You want them around medium well. They're pretty much done. And
that's awfully quick.
Yeah, well,
it's because of the high heat.
It's the high heat, and I wasn't playing with the steaks. I just turned them once, and that was the end of it. That's what makes it so easy.
All right, why don't we nibble on some of this? Let's get over here. I brought some plates. And, of course, I brought paper towels. You don't know me well enough to know that I'm the world's messiest person.
Well, I'm sure that will become clear very soon. We'll see.
All right. Let's sit down on the same side here so we can talk while we're doing this. I'm going to let you...
You want me to serve you up a little?
Yeah, please, so I can hold the microphone.
Okay. Now,
I brought two... You've heard this joke, haven't you? In some restaurants, what's the difference between the $12 steak and the $15 steak?
What's the difference?
You get a sharper knife. With the
I like that.
You may have that.
I will definitely use that for my restaurants. Now, is that the way you like it cooked?
Oh, that's lovely.
See, I cook for my... Now, see, if this was for me, I would have cooked this less. But for you requested medium well. And in my business, the customer is king. So at this point, you're the customer. So we'll see.
Well, now, there's something to be said about this. I don't want to get into the whole issue of food safety, but my mother's generation went through a time when there was less refrigeration, people got sicker, there was more tainted meat. I did not know until I was 30 years old and went to a decent steakhouse that steak is not supposed to be like shoe leather.
Absolutely not.
My family cooked the thing. I don't know why they would buy an expensive piece of meat and then cook the heck out of it.
Yeah, there's no need to do that. If you buy an expensive piece of meat, I'm gonna have to start working on you because I want to. In the next 12 months, I have to convince you that you need to start eating your steaks cooked less so you can taste the flavor of the meat. That's what happens. People sometimes go overboard. You just want to add some flavors to enhance it. You buy an expensive piece of meat. You buy an expensive piece of fish, you just want to enhance the flavors of the natural flavors of that product. Otherwise, it's not worth it to buy an expensive piece of anything.
Boy, my listeners are used to hearing me eat while I'm on this show. Could one of these two nice ladies walk around that corner and get me a Diet Pepsi? and I'm going to play dumb because I left my wallet in my apartment. What is it like when you find somebody who has led such a sheltered life that they've really never had a nicely done medium or medium rare steak and are tasting it for the first time?
Well, it's like anything else. You need to experiment in life. So if it's going to be as simple as tasting a steak that's a little less cooked, I think that's an easy project.
And I'm actually cutting this with my fork.
Well, you probably should use a knife, though.
Yeah, but this works. What about pork on the grill? Is that a big item, or is that hard to cook?
No, pork is fantastic on the grill, especially like pork tenderloin, pork chops. Pork is a great canvas. Chicken and pork are just great canvases for different kinds of marinades.
Bobby, this is absolutely magnificent. The thing that impresses me is you're the expert, but what you did, you know how to do it, is so simple, no one should be afraid to do this.
Absolutely not. And people say to me, what's your secret ingredient? The secret ingredient is no ingredient is secret. We just keep it really simple, really accessible. All the ingredients and the main courses are very recognizable. So it's not like, I sent you out to buy some quail that you shot out of the trees and we grilled it up. I mean, you can do that too, but why not?
Well, now, there are certain areas of other things I want to get into. I mentioned in some cases you might want to put foil down for hamburger, but I guess unless you buy really cheap hamburger that's all fat, it's going to have some cohesion. The patty is. So it's not going to fall through the grill. But what about using foil for other things? I see people wrap ears of corn. Are you a proponent of the ovening of food on a grill, or do you just like it out there?
I like it out there, but if it's going to make it easier for you, I say why not? If you want to wrap some corn in some foil, I do pizzas on the grill too, where I take the dough and I throw it right on the grill, and then I make a really delicious pizza with all kinds of different toppings. What happens is sometimes the pizza dough can start to get a little overcooked. That's when I put some foil down on the grill and then put the dough back on top.
Tell us about your cable network program while I eat.
It's on the Food Network. It's called Hot Off the Grill with Bobby Flay. It's on every night. You got to check it out.
Every night?
Every night.
That's a lot of work.
No, I know. It's a lot of grilling. But people seem to be attached to the show, and we grill everything from to fish to meat. We do paella on the grill. We do clam bakes right on the grill. Really interesting thing. Anything but a birthday cake, basically, I can put on the grill.
I need to say something here that's obvious, but I would be remiss if I didn't. Being in broadcasting and news a long time, I've run across an awful lot of stories of people who tried to do this inside. This is not an inside kind of thing. I mean, you were talking about a dangerous situation you can create with the wrong kind of cooking inside.
Right. I mean, grilling is really an outdoor event. But the great thing about, for instance, the recipes in Boy Meets Grill, you can take those recipes and you can cook them indoors. You can cook them on top of a stove. You don't have to actually cook them in a grill. You can cook them in more conventional techniques.
I'd love to ask a question, but I'm too busy eating.
You're eating. Well, that's good. Will you want me to ask you a question?
Sure. Or talk about your restaurants.
Well, we have Mesa Grill, they're both in New York. Mesa Grill and Bolo. Mesa Grill is a Southwestern restaurant. It's a contemporary Southwestern restaurant. So obviously we employ lots of chili peppers and things along those lines for flavor. And then Bolo is a Spanish restaurant. Spanish, but through my eyes. It's not authentic.
Spanish-Irish.
It's Spanish. It's Spanish New York.
Well, now, don't you hate it, though, the people who try to do Southwest or Tex-Mex cooking and think all you have to do is put so much chili in it burns your mouth, they don't know about the nuance?
We like to say that we employ chili peppers for accent, not injury. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to burn out your mouth. That's not about cuisine. We like to use chili peppers for the flavor that they have behind the heat. And some of them are fruity, some of them are earthy, some of them are musty, some of them are, they have such wonderful wide range of flavors. And we attempt to bring out all those natural flavors and to really season and flavor the food.
Ever been to Santa Fe, New Mexico?
Sure.
The chili shop there?
Yeah, sure.
I did a show from there once. I can't remember the lady's name, but a very short woman runs it. I was amazed at the numbers of different kinds of chilies.
It goes on forever. And the thing about chili peppers is that they're called something different in every region of Mexico, so you can't even, they won't let you keep up with them. Let's put it that way.
Let's end this here by going through some basic things. If you will, On the negative side first, tell us the 4 or 5 mistakes you see most people make when they grill.
Okay, let's see. First of all, they don't put the heat up very high, so that's one. You got to have high heat. Number two, when they grill something, we were talking about it before, they put something on the grill, they immediately want to touch it, see if it's sticking. That's when it sticks. Definitely stay away from that. You know, as far as fish is concerned, start with something that's more dense, something that's meatier, like shark or swordfish or tuna. Vegetables, when you grill them whole, and then cut them.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been, my listeners don't know what time of day we're taping this. This has been my breakfast also. This is absolutely magnificent.
Great. Well, I'll cook for you anytime.
So the key is just don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid to grill. Get in there, get to know your grill, get intimate with your grill, learn the hot spots, learn the cold spots, and have a good time.
And the book again is called?
Boy Meets Grill.
Cute name.
Thank you very much.
Bobby, thanks for coming out here.
My pleasure.
Bobby Flay, a personable young man even back in 1999. I should have gotten some pictures taken. He became a driving force in network television in the wonderful world of food. I'm Dennis Daly.